One. Hello, everyone. So, this is
Hi,
Alex, and we also have,
Ryan.
and we are two colossal Survivor nerds who have been watching the show forever, and we decided in honor and commemoration of the 40th season, we would occasionally throw in some banter, throw in some opinions, occasionally some shade, and uh, get ourselves through this season, because God knows we're probably going to need a lot of support and a lot of help, right, Ryan?
Yes, I'm super excited because I feel like you can't go wrong with an all-winner season, but I'm also really nervous because Jeff Probst said it's going to be the best season ever, and judging by Jeff's opinions of some things, this may or may not be the best season or the worst season of all time.
I didn't hear that. So if Jeff Probst has said this is the best season, that means it's going to be a train wreck wrapped in a typhoon, like sprinkled with Joaquin Phoenix sentencing someone to death. It's going to be some nonsense. I'm not looking forward to it if that's what Jeff has said. I have a small vendetta against Jeff Probst purely because I think it might have been Blood versus Water. I don't know, or it might have been Heroes versus Villains. He was like, if you don't love this cast, you're not a fan of the show. And I was like, Jeff Probst, I have watched every season. I have loved the majority of what you have put out there. That being said, some of this cast is trash. So, I very much am worried now that I know that's what Jeff Probst said.
Speaking of some of a cast being trash, no, I'm just kidding.
Who do you got first?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I will go on record before we even get into the thick of it all and say I don't think any of the people that are on season 40 are bad players. I may possibly think that some of them may not be great winners, but I don't think any of them are bad players. Pinky
I was going to say, I just need to hydrate. This isn't my natural light. So well, I'm looking forward to it. I'm excited regardless. There's members of the cast I'm very excited about, members I'm not so excited about. I'm just excited to see a winter season in general. So I think it's something the fans have been wanting for quite some time. So the fact that we finally have gotten there, it's only taken 20 years. Yeah,
right.
I'm pretty stoked.
Do you think because me personally, I think we could have done this season 15 seasons ago. You know what I mean?
Yes.
It's so overdue that we've kind of had a lot of underwhelming winners since the prime of Survivor.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wholeheartedly agree.
I think most of the people I'm not excited about on this cast are the more recent winners. There's one or two I'm okay, and then
Wholeheartedly agree, because I'm that person. I live for my early season winners because the show was so fresh back then. And I think nowadays, I don't know if it's production or if they're just reading what they think the fans want or whatever the case may be. I feel as though there's not enough representation of the first 15, 16 seasons of Survivor.
right. I mean, gosh, what was it? Second Chances, when my queen T-Bird did not get voted into the cast. What in the holy hell happened?
The disrespect.
I was like, who doesn't like T-Bird? There must be a lot of recent season casual fans that were whoever from Samoa should get to play again and not T-Bird. It was disgraceful.
Capital pass. I was offended that T-Bird wasn't on there. I was mad that gosh, I'm missing her name. Carolina.
Carolyn, Mama C.
Mama C.
Oh my God, Queen.
Favorite in her season, and when she didn't get on, despite being robbed,
yes,
who would have rounded out my triumvirate of my 3 least favorite winners of all time had Mike Holloway been in the season. Hi, Mike. Yeah, devastated. I feel like we got to start jumping in and talking about some of these people that are on the season.
Yes, we do.
Fall asleep on us.
Okay, so do you just want to go through the whole list, or you just
I think we can.
Yeah, because there's some people that I won't have a lot to say about anyway. So
exactly.
Speaking of people I don't have a lot to say about, let's start.
Starting with Amber.
I was gonna start with Adam.
Oh, I have something
um,
to say about Adam, so yes.
that's fine. So I have a small character flaw, and that is that as much of a Survivor diehard fan as I am, I have so many character flaws. As much of a diehard Survivor fan as I am, like love Australian Survivor, love US Survivor, bring
Mhm.
it on. Um, I don't get enthusiastic about Survivor themes that are really lame in my opinion. So like millennials versus Gen X I thought was the dumbest idea for a season. No shade or anything. I just thought like, is that what you're naming your season? So I've actually never seen it. Also, I watched the first 4 episodes and they voted out every female minority in the cast in the first 4 episodes, and I said, and that's typically like literally who I root for every time. Like Sheehan is like my old school all-time favorite for a long while, so I was like, oh my god, I have so many Asian females on this cast and I'm really excited about them, and then they literally all went right away. So
Yep.
I kind of boycotted the season and um didn't even bother watching the rest of it. Now of course I've seen a lot of montage clips and stuff like that, but Adam is the one person I've never seen the winning game from, so I have no opinion on him.
Ugh. God, watching him play the game, what it just hurt my soul. It really did. I literally was like, anyone that he worked with, he made it to the end off of the work and charisma and manipulations of the people that he went to the end with. He did very little to get to the end, in my opinion. And I think the one thing that makes him such a standout winner for so many people is the admittedly heartbreaking story about him originally needing, or it was he and his mom were cast to be on was it Blood versus Water? I think it was the second Blood versus Water. And unfortunately, his mother was ill and she eventually passed away, which was really, really heartbreaking and sad. That being said, watching him play was infuriating as a fan, and watching him win, I was like, I can't even watch the finale or the reunion of this. So I feel like it's not fun if we're not going to banter. Hopefully Adam will go in there and just play like a mind-bendingly fantastic game. It took me 3 tries to, and everyone's going to hate me for saying it. It took me 3 attempts to appreciate Parvati, and maybe Adam will knock it out of the park in round 2. I have no idea. I hated watching him play in his season, and I was pretty disappointed when they said that he was going to play again. So I felt
Yeah. I mean, most of what I've heard about him is he's a huge fan of Survivor, which I mean, at this point, if you're going into Winners at War, it doesn't matter. Like, you know, everyone knows the game. I think the best thing that he might have going for him is just like maybe that intel will help him learn who to work with, like who's going to be more receptive to his personality. I can see him and like Ethan getting along really well, so that could be interesting. That's kind of been like in the back of my mind doing like drafts and stuff. I'm like, that could be a really good pair in the game, but again, I don't know how people in the game are going to feel about Adam. Truthfully, I could see him being an early boot, but I don't know about
I
him.
think he's not going to be an early boot because the one thing I can say about Adam is I think he's got a big ego, but I also think he can recognize that there are egos that are bigger than him. And I think his strategy and hope is that the bigger personalities are going to like cannibalize each other early. I think the trouble he's going to run into is if it doesn't happen early enough and people realize what the heck is this kid bringing to the table other than potentially a early loyal vote, which I think I heard in an interview that was the plan that he had anyway. So I'm just like, hey, if it works for you, it works for you. I just hope they don't give you like a quarter of the screen time that they gave you in your season. Moving on. Otherwise, this video will be 2 hours long.
Alrighty. So next up, I guess let's stay on the blue tribe and bring it to somebody that I really wish had not won because I'm totally Team Chrissy. Ben.
Isn't it? I was so annoyed at this win. He so did not deserve to win. Oh, I'm making so many enemies, and it's only our second castaway. I cut you off. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. I mean, that's absolutely how I feel about it. Here's the thing, like Ben was playing a good game, and Ben is one of those people. Like there are certain archetypes you just don't like to root for in Survivor, right? Like the obvious like golden boy or the person where everyone would be like, oh yeah, like if he makes then he's gonna win. You don't want to watch that person win. So like halfway through the season when the cast was like, he needs to go, and then he found idol, win challenge, idol. Like it was so frustrating because as an old school fan of Survivor, you want someone to be able to get through the game on the merits of something other than I found an advantage and I found another advantage and stuff like
Oh,
that.
look, great advantage. And oh, look, Jeff Probst is going to completely surprise everyone and say, oh, you can't
Fire
go
making.
out fourth place because Jeff Probst loves his alpha males and they usually go out in fourth or fifth. And Jeff Probst cannot sleep if he does not have someone that he can root for in the end. So mind-numbingly horrible. And every time I get in a conversation with someone, I'm like, kind of like Adam with the admittedly very sad story about his mom. The only reason why anyone gave a damn, well, at me, the only reason why I remotely cared about Ben was the fact that he was a veteran.
Yeah.
Outside of that, I was like, when you were the target 4 rounds in a row, your outwit, outplay thing it's just not there. So he totally deserved that win. I'm like, on the scale of what?
I was totally shocked. Like, I'm not gonna lie, I was totally shocked that Chrissy didn't get the win. Like, I know people didn't like her personality as much, but she really dominated the game. Even when things didn't go in her favor, she turned it back around. So
she did. No, that was another winner where I was like, ooh, I will never say the jury got it wrong, but I was like, what was the criteria? Did the person I was rooting for cuss out someone's mom and they just didn't air that part of Final Tribal Council? I have no idea. I did not think Ben was a great winner. Great player, great to watch, but under no circumstances do I think he should have won. I love how unopinionated and unbiased I have been so far.
1,000,000%. How do you think Ben's going to do this season?
Ben, I honestly think he could go deep.
Yeah, coming into like thinking about it and stuff, I immediately wrote him off. I was like, no, he's toast. And the more I think about it, and I don't want to say unfortunately, because regardless of how I feel about him as a winner, how he is as a player, it's a different category, right? So like, even though I'm not excited for him as a player coming into the game, if he does well, that's great. And I hope that he can play without relying on finding without Russell Hansing his way through the game, basically.
I was basically using immunity wins and immunity idols in lieu of actual gameplay to stick around.
Right.
That's what I'd love to see out of Ben. And if he can deliver that, I will probably change my tune about him. So
yeah,
we'll see. I want to like everybody. I want to love this season.
I want everyone to prove me wrong except for the people I like. I want them to prove me right.
No, it's like you don't want them to get that weird like all-stars edit from Drag Race. You realize they're either crazy or they're not that talented. You don't want that to happen, but it's going to happen to some of them, I'm sure.
Right.
Moving on down the line to Miss Danni Boatwright.
Ooh, Danni Boatwright.
It's like this. I think Danni is the first time we've had anybody whose first season was Guatemala who got brought back.
Yeah.
Because Bobby John and Stephanie were both in Palau and then played in Guatemala, but we've never had like an OG Guatemala player come back to play the game again.
I think Danny's the first person from Guatemala to like step back into the sunlight after the season ended. Like, have we ever heard anything from any of them ever?
Yeah. I really liked the Guatemala season, so I've been kind of annoyed that they haven't brought back more players from that season.
Yeah.
I think if anything, it's probably not the most. It wasn't regarded as one of the more exciting seasons, which to me, watching Jamie and Bobby John freak out at each other like dogs, like why would you not bring that back? So good. As far as Danni goes, I remember not being crazy about her just because I felt like she's one of those winners. It's like she made it to the end. She was in the minority tribe-wise once the merge happened. And then what was it? The dominant tribe just kind of cannibalized each other. She slid through, made it to the end. And Stephanie, I think, is who she was against. Just had pissed off more people because she betrayed more people in her original tribe, and Danni won. So I'm very intrigued to see how Danni does. I feel like coming from old school Survivor, especially from an old school season of Survivor where she played nice. It was very early Survivor, summer camp, let's just be cool with each other and be friends and pray that they cannibalize each other. That's what she did. She got to the end that way and she won. But in a game now with idols and a game now with all these advantages and all these extra layers and things like that, she's definitely one that I'm going to be watching with intent because I want to know how the way she played last game, which admittedly wasn't very bold or exciting, and seeing how that translates into a new game. I'm very excited.
I'm really looking forward to seeing Danni play because, like, I was not a huge Guatemala fan, just in general. when it first aired, and I think like what eventually turned me on to the idea of Danni being like a really good winner was like the other diehard Survivor fans that really saw the value in her gameplay, and like, you know, all of her interviews that were like, oh, I didn't didn't tell the producers anything about how I played, and nobody knew what my strategy was, blah blah blah, and that it was all, you know, to me it was
All
almost like
intentional now that I've won.
it was a little like revisionist history, you know, like, oh yeah, I totally didn't have any gameplay that I talked to the cameras about, but I had it in my head. And I hope that she really has it. I think Danni has a ton of potential. But I literally see her being either in the final five or being one of the first five boots. Like, I don't see middle ground with her because I do think she has the strategic capacity to understand the modern game as it is. I do think she's probably done her homework. You know, I would expect her to. But I don't know if people are going to come into the game and be like, Danny's the dangerous one, because I'm not going to lie, like, Danni has said from the end of her season the only way she'll come back is if it's an all winners season.
Oh, wow.
So like, yeah, this, I'm pretty sure she's like one of the big reasons why this season is happening, because Probst probably really wanted her back to be like, okay, put your money where your mouth is. Were you really, was that your strategy the whole time, or did you just go, oh yeah, that was what I was doing? Because
And it really could be either. I'm excited to see Danni back. I'm really excited for any of the early season winners.
mm-hmm.
And that might include Amber. I haven't decided yet, but yes.
Can you believe in 2020 we were referring to season 11 of Survivor as an early season winner? Like, isn't that so weird?
I'm just like, yep. I was gonna say, I got my Botox appointment tomorrow.
My crow's feet everywhere.
Exactly. Shall we move on to?
Yes.
Shall we move on to Denise? I gotta be honest. When I found out that Denise Stapley was playing in Winners at War, I nearly had a baby. I nearly immaculately conceived right on the spot and gave birth simultaneously all within 7 minutes because I love Denise. I think she's such an, depending upon who you ask, she's a very underappreciated and undervalued winner. I think she is phenomenal. I think anybody else on the planet who went to every single tribal council and survived and then won, like, there's no better Survivor story than that. And still, even at that reunion, Jeff Probst gave her all of 45 seconds before dedicating 9 minutes to Malcolm. And I'm just like, no, okay. So that's starting like the streak. It was right around then where I was like, I don't know if I'm gonna watch the reunions anymore because this is frustrating. That being said, I'm so excited Denise is here.
Okay, Denise is my favorite winner of all time. She is the only winner that I predicted before the season started ever.
Really?
I have never properly predicted a winner up until Denise and never since. And let alone on top of all that, to attend every tribal council and still come out on top at the end of the game and be in such bad positions with numbers and stuff like that. This girl is queen. She is queen. I mean, everyone says it and it's kind of cliche, but it's true. Her profession is perfect for Survivor. She knows how to talk to people. She knows how to interpret how people feel. She knows how to analyze things. She knows how to come across in a way that people are not going to be threatened. People are going to be trusting of her, and she knows what her best move is forward, and she can keep her emotions at a low. And I think those are the people that I think are going to have the most success in the season. Maybe not necessarily winning at a final tribal council, but I think the people who can keep their emotions in check are going to get to the end of the game. And you might have a flashier player at the end that's like whoever that can boast more things, but at least those people are going to have, you know, the success of surviving for longer. So I am so excited for Denise. I actually am kind of shocked this is the first she's been back. Like, I kind of thought like a game changers opportunity would be cool for her. Like, well, I don't like the season, but like, you know, the person who went to every tribal council and still won the game, like, that's a game changing moment. But regardless,
it totally is. I'm just that person who's like, no, the only reason why I don't want Denise in this season is because I'm terrified she's gonna A, be voted out, which my heart cannot handle, or B, she might go out early. I don't know. And the idea throws me because the thing I'm waiting for in the first episode is for anyone to say, oh, he's such a huge threat, he needs to go, or she's such a huge threat. It's like, this is literally the season of people who figured it out.
Right. It should just be called Survivor 40 Threats.
Exactly. Like, other than Michelle and Adam, I'm like, they're threats to be there and be in a bathing suit and talk. Anyway, let's talk about Denise.
Threats to get third place.
Right, exactly. And I think for me, my fear is with Denise, someone saying like, yeah, we're all threats. This woman is paid to get into people's heads and sort things out. And I'm like, I swear to God, if she goes in the first episode, like,
No, I can't fathom. I won't even acknowledge it. It will not happen. Don't speak it into an existence.
so
But
all we can establish is that we both hate Denise, clearly.
yeah, she's the worst. Also, really quickly, I just want to throw in there before we move on. Russell Hantz did some review of like the people who were cast, and I normally try to ignore whatever Russell Hantz says, but I was a little intrigued.
Ignore it.
He said Denise did not deserve to be there, and I actually had to comment on the video and ask him what he was smoking, because if you attend every tribal and you win the game, how do you not deserve to be on the winners season?
Well, this is also coming from the man who said, despite, what was it, when he first played with Samoa, so despite 18 seasons where the jury picked the winner, Russell Hantz was the individual who said, America should have a vote in who wins the game. So I'm not really worried about his opinions of Denise, because his life decisions and life in general are not anything to be admired, envied, or followed.
I just needed to throw it out there that I can't fathom that a human being would think she doesn't deserve to be on this season, because...
Well, that's a person that can buy me a drink, and maybe I will listen to them talk, but it's going to be very passive listening. I won't be like repeating back to them. They're not going to necessarily know that I'm listening to them, other than occasional eye contact, because Denise is in there. She deserves to be in there, and screw anyone who has a differing opinion.
Queen.
Indeed.
All right. Moving onward, we have up next. I lost my list.
That's okay, I got it. Next up is Ethan.
Ethan.
Good old season 3 Ethan.
How do you feel about Africa? What are your opinions on Africa?
Like as a season?
As a continent, what are your opinions of Africa?
No, I meant like, I didn't know if you meant like him being, or no, obviously
like,
not.
As a watchable season, yeah.
As a watchable season, I loved Africa. Africa was the first, I caught maybe half the episodes of Australia because I couldn't train either of my parents to hit record at 8 o'clock on whatever night of the week it was on. So I missed like half the episodes of Australia. Season 3 is when they finally got their groove, i.e. their craft together, and were able to just hit record when I was not able to be home at the time. So I liked Africa. I think Africa as a season's good. It was also the first time, or wait, no, that was Australia. I was like, it wasn't like a full on like 5-5 and then just knock it all down. And that's more or less what they did in Africa. So not the most exciting season. And again, it's kind of where we see this trajectory of earlier seasons of Survivor are very much like summer camp. Like, let me be as likable as possible and hopefully I don't go. Which is why I think there's probably so few inclusions from earlier seasons. But to answer your question, I liked Africa. I thought it was a great season. I thought it was interesting how the tribe that was kind of losing a lot, they lost the first 2 immunity challenges, and then those 6 people all that survived the first 2 all made it to the merge.
Yeah.
I was saying something. I was totally Team Samburu, so I was kind of disappointed. But Ethan, for me, is an interesting winner just because the last time he played, he was a winner in an all-star season. And obviously there was just nothing but targets for the returning winners.
Right.
Which was interesting. I'm concerned that Ethan might be slightly in over his head from the last 2 times that he played. And I pray he goes in there and I won't say proves me wrong, because this is just something I'm worried about. I'm not saying he's not going to be great. I have concern because he just seems like such a nice guy. In the few interviews I've seen, he still seems like such a nice guy. And he's playing with some piranhas, dressed as wolves, dressed as, sheep. I have no idea. The man, I'm worried about Ethan. I love all my early winners and I want them all to do well. I'm just scared that they won't.
See, I think, so Ethan is not one of my favorite winners of all time. I was not the biggest fan of Survivor Africa, just because, like I mentioned earlier, like with Ben, like I don't like the winner that I feel like you go into it and you're like, oh yeah, like that's a really good person and he should win the game, and then it just kind of happens. And I felt like the edit was a little underwhelming on Ethan. Like they put all of the eggs into Lex's basket.
Yes, they did.
and then Ethan won the game, and it was like, well, he was nice, and that's why he won. Like, um,
Not the most exciting winner, and compared to
yeah,
modern
but
Survivor, like big moves and things like that, he didn't really.
yeah,
It was much more of a team sport.
right. Which ironically, he plays soccer and does grassroots. So. um, but coming into the season, he is actually one of the people I'm most excited to see play
Okay.
because I completely disagree with you that he's going to be in over his head. I think he is the old school player that's going to adapt to the modern game the best. Um, I think Ethan is naturally really charming. I think people are going to flock to him, and I can easily see a more modern player kind of almost taking Ethan under their wing. And I don't think Ethan even needs that. You know, like I think people are going to look at him and go, "Oh, you don't know how to play, sweetie. It's okay. I'll help you." And he's going to go, oh, "Okay, sure. Help me, please." And I genuinely see him doing really well in this season.
I would love nothing more than for you to be right. I would love for that to be the case. You know, like in some of the All-Star seasons, you just have the characters that just don't seem to really fit in initially. Like in Heroes versus Villains, it was like JT, Tom, and Stephanie were kind of like quasi on the outs. Maybe it
Yeah,
wasn't. I think I'm forgetting someone. Or even
it was
on
Sugar.
what?
Sugar.
Sure. No, I love sugar, but no. What was it? Or like Terry Dietz in second, or was it Game Changers or Second Chances? Second Chances.
Second chances, yeah.
And, you know, just amazing, all the reputation in the world, but it's like he was the one for episode after episode. Everyone's like, as soon as we lose, he's gone.
Right.
That's the fear that I have for Ethan. I'd love to be wrong. I would love to be wrong. I'm looking forward to being wrong if that's the case. My concern is that he'll have the capacity to be cutthroat. I don't necessarily know for sure that he'll have the chops to do it, but I'm excited to see Ethan back. It's kind of like looking back like in an old yearbook and just be like, oh yeah, I remember this person. And the modern player or modern watchers of the show that haven't seen a season since like Redemption Island or something like that, those are the ones I'm like, I can't relate to you because you're a fetus. So moving on down.
Jeremy Collins.
What do you think about Jeremy Collins?
I have opinions. I really liked Jeremy in his first season.
I don't
Um,
remember him in San
oh,
Francisco for
he,
anything. I know he was in.
I loved Val from like episode 1, and then in episode 2, like my heart broke because she was gone, and I was totally team Val. Like that was the only other Survivor draft I've ever done, and I picked her as my winner, and I lost miraculously. It was great. And then Jeremy kind of flickered out, but gave us the greatness of another player that we'll talk about later. But Jeremy's win in Second Chances is not my fave. He is kind of in a list of a few other winners that I think where a runner-up deserved their win more, such as like Chrissy with Ben. I also think Dawn deserved to win over Cochran, and I also think I also think that Tasha deserved to win over Jeremy.
Okay.
Um, and go ahead.
All I was going to say is I love Taj. I loved her in her first season. I loved when they brought her back. I knew she wasn't going to win just from the edit. We have no clue what she did in that season other than kind of hang out with Spencer and Jeremy.
She was working the girls though. She had
I know, I'm not saying she didn't do anything, and I would have loved a Taj win, absolutely. I just know that they didn't focus on all the things that she did that affected the game nearly as much as they did with Spencer and Jeremy. And I think that's, again, I just think the producers love the sneaky alpha males because for whatever reason, a woman doing it's just not as good television.
Yeah. I don't know. I just kind of think, especially hearing, like listening to podcast after, YouTube video of the predictions for people coming into the season, I think a lot of people are putting more stock than I remember in Jeremy's winning game. And that's not to take away anything from him as a player, because I think he's a phenomenal player. I don't think he had, in my memory, and maybe it's just because I was so enamored with Tasha, and I really, I felt like I could read the subtext of how she was playing, and then I saw how Spencer was playing, and I was just a little underwhelmed by his winning game. Coming into a season with all winners, I think he's in a good position, for sure. I don't see him taking home the win, but if he does, I won't be shocked. I predict him to go about mid-jury, so...
I only disagree with you because I think, especially starting out, I think the blood is in the water. And I think, especially the women, if the women are anything resembling like thinking forward, they're going to not want to let the women go early on. Or maybe they will. Maybe they'll be like, hey, if one or two girls go and I'm not one of them, that one or second girl, and I stay in here, eventually the guys will cannibalize each other. That might be a winning strategy. I have no idea. I personally think that Jeremy, being as likable as he is and being as physical of a threat that he is, someone's going to look at him and go, do we really need him for challenges? I'm not confident that we do.
Well,
So that
there's
could
a
be
very
for anybody, though.
there's a very interesting aspect at play though, and that is that Jeremy and Natalie are both on the same starting tribe. And Natalie went Kill Bill over Jeremy being voted out the first time, so that kind of throws a little bit of a wrench into the ladies sticking with ladies.
I didn't even think of that because I knew that the two of them were on the same season together, but until right before we started filming this, I didn't know what the tribe breakdown was. Until I
Right.
didn't realize they were on the same tribe. Looking at my notes, prepared.
So that could change things a little bit, but I could see you being right. I mean, if I were playing, Jeremy would be a player that I would probably want to get out early because again, he's someone that everybody likes. You know, it's not like a Tony or a Rob where people get rubbed the wrong way by them. Everybody likes Jeremy. You
Yeah,
can't have that in the end of the game because it does win every time.
exactly. I think the only thing that makes sense so far are the people we've talked about as far as voting blocks. You gotta try and get Ben out, otherwise he's just gonna idle his way to the end and then win a second time. And I'm just be sitting there going, "Yep, didn't deserve it the first time. Certainly don't deserve it now." Right? I don't really have a whole lot to say about Jeremy. I think he's likable. I I wasn't. I think in San Juan del Sur, I wasn't really rooting for or against him, and then I think I felt the same way in Game Changer. So when he won, it felt like deserved, but
Yeah.
I wasn't overwhelmed. I wasn't overwhelmed. I was just like, well, there's a winner. So his inclusion, I kind of feel this way about most of the people that are coming back for their third, fourth, or freaking fifth time. If I've already seen you play twice, odds are I'm okay.
Yeah.
In most cases, I can watch Sandra play every season and not care.
Right.
But yeah, I guess for me, I'm kind of like, I've never felt truly like inspired or like blown away by Jeremy's gameplay. He's a great player. I did not mind his win at all, but he's not necessarily someone that I was like, oh, he's back. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I just kind of feel. Yeah. 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 I'm excited to watch him at least. He'll be fun to watch.
He
So.
will be fun to watch. Because especially if someone betrays him, like I want him to do that whole Kimmy, Kimmy, Kimmy. Oh, I don't know what is happening, but this is fun.
Oh, so next we have your favorite, Michelle.
I gotta be honest. I am so team estrogen this uh, for this cast. I'm so team estrogen. Michelle's inclusion in this season makes no sense to me whatsoever. And Jeff Probst trying to convince me that Michelle has every reason to be in this cast just makes me roll my eyes even more. Amazing person. I'm sure she's lovely. Just I remember thinking, if anyone but Sydney or Aubrey win this freaking game, I am done.
Sydney, because Sydney
Was my favorite.
Can we take like 4 seconds to talk about how Sydney hasn't come back and why she hasn't come back? Because I don't understand because she was so amazing.
I was gonna say, I think Sydney probably just confuses Jeff Probst's programming because she has all the makings of like super dominant, like alpha male minus the penis, and I think that just really pisses off Jeff Probst because he can't get behind her fully because he really wants her to get behind him. I don't know. I have opinions, so Sydney needs to come back, but we digress.
Yes.
But yeah, Michelle, she's there.
Again,
but not happy about it.
Like we said with Adam, like I can't see a world where if she makes the finals, she gets a vote. And prove me wrong, please. I'd love to see something more from her. But I didn't really watch the pregame interviews, but from what I've heard about stuff, it kind of seems like she's just gonna go play the same game again. And I was very underwhelmed by her initial win.
Yep.
I think her win is a matter of circumstance. I think like Aubrey literally just lost so many friends on the jury. And
take away my two best friends on the jury, or I think Joe still got to vote. I think
I
And then
think.
basically, you just had two alpha males that couldn't stand that they were outsmarted by a woman, so they just voted for the woman that didn't outsmart them. And that's how we got Michelle in the winter season. Okay. Hopefully
Uh,
she'll be amazing. Hopefully she'll take all the fury of just people underestimating her, saying that her win was kind of underwhelming, and be like, "Let me show you." Because she
like
goes,
I said, prove me wrong.
yeah, anyone with a brain's gonna go. Michelle's just gonna ride coattails and just watch all of us devour each other. Let's just get rid of her first.
I mean, hey,
Want that to happen.
if Michelle and Parvati like create Black Widow Squad 2.0, I'm here for it. So
No. Parvati can make Black Widow Squad 2.0 with any. She can do it with men, and I wouldn't care. Don't do it with Michelle. Just don't. Pass. Hard pass. Can we also talk about the lack of gay winners in this,
yeah,
other than Tyson? Okay, moving on. So next up we have Natalie, who I'm very excited to see Natalie back.
I, well, I really want to interject really quick because
What?
I saw some comments somewhere about like how uh if they were doing like a legend season or something like that, someone was like, oh well, you would have to have like this, like it was like, oh, you'd have to have like Todd on there, but if you couldn't have Todd, you could have Varner or Hatch. And I was like, so you're literally only putting gay people in that slot? No, they're just very similar players. On what planet are they similar players?
I was going to
Anyway,
say, in the fact that they're all into dudes, but I don't know how much that plays into their actual gameplay. It's like all three of them have something in common with Jeff Probst, which we won't talk about because that's rude. This is a family program, and I'm not outing anybody. Whoops.
family programming. Natalie, love Natalie.
I honestly, I feel, in addition to feeling like we've gone 10,000 minutes on this already, I love Natalie. You take the reins on this one because I'm happy. I hope she kicks butt.
I'm so excited. You know, like for years I was hoping like maybe we'll get a Kill Bill Volume 3, like it would be a really cool movie. I don't need Kill Bill Volume 3. I already saw Natalie do it in whatever San Juan del Sur. Probably going to watch Natalie do it again this season if she's not first boot, which is my biggest fear. She is my number one first boot fear for this season. I love Natalie so much, but the issue that I see her having is that her personality can be grating for people on an island, and these aren't the most like receptive people that are going to be like, oh yeah, I can totally deal with you for 39 days. They're going to be like, no, like it's been a while since I played this game and I don't want to be frustrated by people, so like if you're bothering me, you're going to go fast.
Yeah.
But that being said, I love Natalie. She and Denise are both CrossFitters, so like that'd be a really cute alliance.
That'd be the coolest alliance ever, and they're both in my fantasy team. So
Yes.
what? This is amazing.
I think Natalie is an appreciated winner, but as appreciated as she is, I still think she's underrated. Like the balls of some of the moves that she made, and the thing that I think is the hardest to teach somebody to win the game of Survivor is tempo, right? Like she knew the exact timing that she needed to make certain moves and exactly when to execute certain things. And when she didn't need to execute it, she sat back properly. She read the room.
Yep.
And I would love to see her do it again. I just don't think it's going to happen. I think people are going to knock her out. So
I think she, out of everyone in the cast, personality wise, other than maybe Tony, she's probably got the biggest personality.
mm-hmm.
I think in situations where people just want to lay back and just kind of observe, because that's probably what almost everyone's going to do, except Natalie and Tony. They definitely stand the biggest chance, respectively, for standing out in not a great way.
Mm-hmm.
But that also could work in their favor. If someone just says, hey, that's a really big personality that a lot of people want out. Why don't I get a coup going, tell her that they're trying to get rid of her, keep her, and then she's loyal to me. So,
right.
And this is just Alex if he were playing. So
Fingers crossed that it happens.
fingers crossed indeed. And then rounding out this tribe is Ms. Parvati.
Parvati. I'll let you go on, Parv, since you were lukewarm to her for her first 2 seasons.
I'm so sorry. In Cook Islands, I was just kind of like, I am so sorry. This season bothers me because it reminds me way too much of Society. way too much. Way too much was going on white people. People were trying really hard to keep the white people. Anyone of color in the first half of that season, bye. It's like the split second, it's like, oh, it could be Parvati or it could be this person of color. Bam! Oh, it could be Adam or it could be this person of color. Bye! Like, no, absolutely not. So, and Parvati did the whole, well, I'm cute and young and in my 20s. So that's a fun strategy for me to watch. I wasn't about it. And then I gotta be honest, and I know the cheese stands alone, I was very Team Amanda in Micronesia. I thought her play with the idol was brilliant. And I definitely think that while Parvati played a great game, I definitely think, even if you say that she still deserved the win, I still think that Amanda kind of got swept under the rug like a non-entity, which I thought was messed up. But Heroes versus Villains was the season that made me go, okay, so Parvati is actually brilliant in the sense that maybe some of the people she's playing with are just actually really dumb. But I'm not going to take away the fact that she rocked that nest for every last egg that could be found, and she rocked it. And I definitely felt she played a really strong game. As much as I love Sandra, and I will never take away from Sandra's second win, that was the first time watching Parvati play. I was like, homegirl could win it tonight, and I would not be upset.
Yeah.
So I'm intrigued watching her go into this season because I think other than Sandra, she's like the longevity queen when it comes to Survivor or days played in Survivor for females. So I think if she went early, I'd probably be like, that's a bummer. But I think I'd still just be like, this is my fourth time watching you play. And I'm kind of biased against those players that I've seen play so many times so far that I definitely am just like, it'd be great to watch her play and do some damage in her very signature Parvati way. But if it doesn't happen, yeah. I won't be devastated, I guess. And that sounds like I'm reading or not in love with Parvati, which I think she's great. But
I loved her in Micro, and I'm not Team Amanda. I actually really appreciated pretty much everybody in the final four of that season. So, but I think she definitely showed, like, she's one of those rare players that you bring back a second time and they make it worth it, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And then you brought her back a third time and she made it worth it. So, like, bringing her back a fourth time, I think it's a lot of pressure on her head, both like as a target, but also to deliver as a player. And I don't know if I see that sparkle in her anymore. I think she might be over it, she's just started a family, like her babies.
Sure. She also went to the end 2 times in a row, and the second time it was just kind of like, look at all these moves I made. And it was just like all the heroes were just like, no, we hate you.
Right. And every Michelle that's ever been cast ever has been like, what player do you most like? And they're like, oh, Parvati. So, like, that alone coming into the game, I feel like I think she is probably in the top 2 targets on the Blue Tribe for sure, next to the next person in line. But I would love for Parv to do well. I don't see a world where it happens. And so I've just kind of resigned myself to the fact that I'm probably only getting 2 episodes at most of Parvati, except for Edge of Extinction. So just get ready for it.
God, I have so many opinions about Edge of Extinction as well. I realize now, I thought I did a picture of the entire cast, I think. Are there only 9 people on each tribe? There's 10.
10. Boston Rob is the last one.
Boston, okay, that's where my screen cut off on my phone. Oh my God.
I honestly don't even think I have an opinion on Boston Rob. So I've never been the biggest fan. He's a good player.
He's a great player.
His win wasn't fair. Like, it just wasn't fair.
I mean, what's fair in Survivor?
But yeah, I almost said that's fair. I need to stop using it. Fair. Yeah. I'm not on the same boat as you about seeing people play too many times and that bothering me, but he's the exception. Like, I don't need to see him play another time, and it's cute that he and Amber are both out there, but I don't need to watch it. I
don't care.
If he's first boot, I won't be heartbroken at all.
I know that all Jeff Probst needs is a theme that he can throw Boston Rob into another season, because it is just a love unlike anything we have ever seen this side of Titanic's release, the director's cut bullshit. Oh my God, I don't need to see Boston Rob play again. I'm waiting for the season where it's like, previous players who were born in the second half of the year just so Boston Rob can play for a 17th freaking time. I don't care. Last season, I feel like we saw more of Boston Rob than we saw of any of the people that made the Final Five. And I don't care, Jeff Probst. I don't care, CBS. Boston Rob is easily like the most entertaining player to watch. Also one of the most successful players to watch. It's kind of like, oh, let's just keep putting Michael Jordan against all these other like NBA All-Star teams and then be surprised when he does well. I don't care.
Yeah.
I really just don't care. His win was against a bunch of idiots who were all signed members of his fan club. No one cares. No one cares. I literally wouldn't be shocked. I know you mentioned like, oh, Danny might be the reason why there's like an all-winner season. I really just think like Probst was like, okay, you won a season. Now you can kind of like be done with it. And then one day Boston Rob was like, hey, I want to play again. And Jeff Probst was like, I don't see how we can make that work. Make it happen. Okay, winter season. Let's go. I'm willing to put 20 on the table. That's exactly how it went down.
It's possible. Yeah, I have zero enthusiasm for his return. So
he goes home first. If he wins, at least if he wins the season, we'll know he like actually earned it.
Right.
I'm worried there's going to be some all-stars nonsense because he's got his wife in the season. You got Tyson in there that he's close to. You got Sandra in there that he's close to. So it's like, oh, gee, another season stacked with people who love Boston Rob. Where have I seen this before?
Right. Well, I think we're going to find out in the first episode. I think that's going to set the precedent for the whole season.
I don't think Boston Rob goes anywhere prior to the merge.
Really?
I don't think he's going a single play. I think, if anything, he's going to use his challenge dominance and prowess to keep himself safe because there's always a puzzle. In any season Boston Rob is, it's always a very puzzle-heavy season, and Boston Rob's amazing at puzzles.
See, I'm the opposite. I don't see him making merge.
Okay. I would love for you to be right. Here and now, I would love for you to be right.
We'll see. He's got to go to Edge of Extinction so he can send Amber stuff. Apparently, that's like the twist of the season is fire tokens. So they send things to people in the game. So he's got to go there so he can send her advantages.
This is my favorite. Between Edge of Extinction, which is the worst twist Survivor has ever come out with, now we have fire tokens because we so unbelievably do not even trust a season of winners to be interesting enough to keep the audience's attention. Completely unheard of. I'm annoyed and bitter at the entire situation. I also feel like we're probably hitting the hour mark soon. So
oh my gosh.
Probably switch to the Red Tribe sometime quickly.
Well, that's fine because I find the Red Tribe to be far more underwhelming. So for the most part, there's a few real great ones there. But speaking of ones that are underwhelming for me, Amber.
Amber, did she win a season?
She as she likes to remind us, she won and she met her husband. And I think everyone has the same opinion about Amber's win. Is just that they felt like Boston Rob deserved it more, but he pissed off the jury, and so they gave it to her because it was the lesser of two evils. And that's fine, but it's not going to happen again. So I hope that she comes to play. I can't see. Could you imagine all winter season and they're like, well, Amber pissed off less people, so we'll give it to her again.
I gotta be honest. That season, that was like the one for me where I, like around final 10 or 9, I was like, anybody but Amber. Give Jerry Manthe $1 million before you give Amber Burkich a freaking $1 million. Are you crazy? Give it to Alicia Calloway because this will always be my favorite.
I will always wave my finger in your face.
Will always be my favorite Survivor moment of any season of all time. Give it to Alicia Calloway. And I was like, just anyone but Amber. Anybody but Amber. When she won, I was like, I'm not watching next season. This is stupid. So I'm excited to see what she can accomplish after all the hype, after all the seasons of Amazing Race, and after all the paychecks that CBS has written to her husband. Like, I'm intrigued, probably more so because she's an early era Survivor winner. But if she goes home first, I'm not shedding any tears. So
yeah. She is actually, of all the players, she is the earliest player. She played in Australia.
Oh, yeah. Australian Outback. So that's got to put her, and she was like 21 at the time.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, but that was almost 20 years ago. So I was like, who's the youngest person in this cast? Probably someone I don't like.
Probably Adam.
Which I'm just like, first or second, please. Okay. Do you have anything else to add about Amber? Because I'm good.
No, and I don't feel bad. Just kidding.
I want Amber to go in there and literally be like the female cutthroat version of Boston Rob, so I can be like,
yeah,
yes.
prove me wrong. Vote Rob out at the first time you meet up in the game. Do it. Pull us the Sierra times 20. Come on, girl.
Laura, oh my God.
For the next 15 seasons of Survivor, we're going to be hearing she voted out her husband. Every season for the next 15 seasons will be blood versus water. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Oh my God. And it'll literally just be like therapy, couples therapy for Amber and Rob. Every season
it'll be Island of the Therapists, and Denise will be there to coach them.
Oh my God. This is so much better than season 40 is about to be. Oh my God. That's amazing.
But if that happens, great. It's not going to happen. So
it's not going to happen. Let a girl dream, Ryan.
Oh, no, I'm sorry.
Let a girl have her fantasies. Next up, I'm actually really excited about this winner because she's only played once. She was another one of those winners, like Denise, who first episode, I was like, who is that? That's the one I like. And that is Miss Kim Spradlin. I think her last name is something different now. I love
Spradlin Wolf.
Sure.
Hungry like the wolf? Come on, mama.
Come on, wolf. I have a coworker who was really not upset, but really unenthusiastic about Kim's return because she was like, Kim didn't do anything in her season. And I'm like, you're excited to see Adam back. You're excited to see Ben back, but Kim Spradlin Wolf didn't do anything.
Kim was the only one that did things in her season.
Literally the one person, and maybe Sabrina. Chelsea just kind of followed whatever Kim wanted to do, but Kim literally like ran that entire season. So it's like you could argue that like, you know, she didn't play with with players with a lot of tenacity or that employed a lot of gameplay. She had everyone on their little, what are those called? Those little strap things they put children in. She had everyone.
Oh, I was like, boobs.
Yes.
A harness. A harness?
No, it's like she just had everyone on those little rope things and then just gave everyone just enough amount of rope and then was just like, well, you're good. And just cut everyone when she needed to. And she won. I was going to say, I want to say obviously she had the majority of the votes. That was a final 3. And I think she took at least 6 of the votes, didn't she?
Yeah. She took most for sure. And I think when you really look at it subjectively, I think if you look at like physical game, strategic game, social game, I think Kim should be ticking a 10 out of 10 on all cylinders, right? So like if you're going into that game with her, if she isn't your first target, you're playing wrong. Like, but like amazing ally to have. I do think she is like a really loyal player, right? Like she stuck with her people from the get-go. She was with Sabrina, she was with Chelsea, she never deviated. So if you're with her, that's great. But like, can you beat Kim Spradlin Wolf in a final 3? I don't think so.
I know the answer. I know the correct answer, but I know what I'm going to tell people when they ask me. Kim who?
I don't know her.
I don't know her. No, I was very, very excited to see Kim included in the cast, and she's definitely, like in my fantasy, if I could pick a top 5, she's definitely in it. I really hope that she does well. I'm very excited to see her back.
Yeah. I even kind of think like, I think Kim almost takes away a little bit of like the hoorah from Danni a little bit. Cause like Kim seemed to be like from my perspective, the people that I know that were like Danni stans seemed to be like all in for Kim too. And as soon as Kim won, they were like, oh, she's the best winner of all time. Like, so I love Kim. I'm not saying from my perspective.
Right. I was going to say the views of Ryan's friends do not necessarily reflect the views of Ryan and Alex. I'm very, very excited for Kim. And I think that it's just a difference in games. It's a difference in scenarios because Danni was outnumbered, I think 3-6. I could be wrong, in Guatemala when they went to the merge. And Kim was in the majority of her original tribe where the girls were just kind of devouring all the men, which is totally fine. But at the same token, it's like, Kim just asserted authority. Kim had everyone wrapped around her finger. And with Danni, it was very much like, well, we have to get rid of you eventually, but we're not going to get rid of you now.
Right. I do think that's the one thing that works against Kim is I don't think she's ever had to play behind the 8 ball.
He hasn't. And
So
that's a very good point to bring up.
yeah. So we'll see. But I think she can do it. I really do. I think she can. If they don't get her out early, Mama gonna bring it home.
Ooh, bring home that W. Bring home that W. I think if anything works against Kim, it's going to be the fact, I don't know, like, how many of the cast members are really good friends or how many of them, like, hang out all the time. Tyson mentioned, like, I've hung out with all these people outside of Survivor engagements. And I'm like, that's so annoying because you're probably going to stay.
Right.
I don't know if Kim, I think that'd be one thing that could work against Kim. I don't know how engrossed she is in that community. But
Right.
if she doesn't get picked up early, like you said, she stands a really good chance, I feel, to go very far.
Yeah.
No. Next up would be, his name is Nick, right?
Name is Nick.
Okay. I feel really terrible. I had to ask that to know for sure.
Yeah.
I don't know about next season. If I'm
Another David versus Goliath, another underwhelming season theme. Not as bad as Millennials versus Generation X, but
that was the dumbest theme ever. Ever. I was like, I don't understand why I'm on the David tribe. Why am I on the Goliath tribe? I'm like, I can't. Because David and Goliath was a story about socioeconomic opportunities and the lifestyles that they were both living. No! The only reason why anyone gave a shit about Goliath is that he was like 17 stories feet tall. Wow, 17 stories tall. Like, that's it. Like, if it was anything other than we're going to put really tall barbarians on one tribe and tiny little pygmies over on the second tribe, your theme is Bacchus.
You can't give away the theme for season 44 yet. They haven't released it.
Oh my God. When they announced that theme, I was like, I can't. Anyway, that was probably the most exciting thing about Nick's season.
I, you know, I appreciated some of the characters from his season, but he was never really one of them. Like, I liked Angelina. She was fun to watch. And then
He was the one that went to the end, right?
yeah. And then, like, she asked, I can't remember her name, but she asked for her jacket, Natalie's jacket, after she voted her out. Like, but I don't know. Angelina was fun to watch. Nick was not. I felt like Nick was not fun to watch at all. And I didn't like his final tribal speech. I just, or like, I don't even know. They don't even do speeches anymore. That drives me nuts. Don't get me started. He's
No.
just underwhelming, and I'm not excited for him to be on this season. I absolutely, like, at any point, if you ask me who could have been on instead of him, I'll probably name almost every other male winner. And it's nothing against the guy. I remember watching and going, as, like, good player after good player after good player got voted out. And then I felt like he was the remnants of, like, Davey. Like, Davey would have been a great winner for that season, but Davey got taken out. And,
Remind me which one Davey was.
huh?
Which one was Davey?
Davey worked with Nick. They pulled off the minority split vote when
He was the Chocolate Lovely one, right?
yes, very pretty.
I was gonna say, Nick, I don't think was a terrible winner. Nick was just a player that was very annoying to watch. Like, oh, let me go ahead and, like, create an alliance with you, and we're gonna give it a nickname. But
Nickname.
even though I didn't like watching it, because just watching him, I just felt like I needed a shower. Just watching that wasn't fun for me, but it was very effective. So I definitely put him several rungs up the ladder above the way I feel about Ben or Adam, for example. He's a couple rungs above them, but not by much. He wasn't someone that I rooted for, but he's definitely a win that I think I just lost Ryan. There we go. He's definitely a win that I could justify more so. I think I wanted Angelina to win. Everyone hated her. But, you know, a girl can dream. Other than that, well, next up, did you have anything else to say about Nick?
I barely had anything to begin with.
Right. Well, next one, I'm going to let you take the reins on this one because this one is near and dear to my heart.
Queen stays queen. I'm actually really, the only reason I'm bummed for this season is because Sandra will not be the only two-time winner anymore, because there is no way in hell that anybody's giving her a third win. That, like, the one thing is, and, like, if I were Sandra, this is what I would play up, right? Drag my ass to the end, because all these people have way too much pride to possibly give me 3 wins. and they only have one. So I will never get voted to win. And she could literally be handed like Midas's golden glove, and they would be like, eh, like it wouldn't matter. So I love Sandra. Sandra is a fantastic player. I really appreciate that the people who don't understand Survivor don't like her as a winner. That's probably my favorite part about her, because they're like, you don't
Oh,
deserve to win. Yes, you do. Yes, you do, girl. You deserve both of them. Um,
I was gonna say, if anyone ever said Sandra did not deserve her win,
a lot of
I'd
people
be like, I'm
do.
sorry, she got it.
Can't take it anyway.
I
Um,
say Boston Rob didn't deserve. Bob Rob didn't deserve his win in the fact that he was playing with idiots. Sandra won a second time being a former winner against people who already knew how to play the game. Fight.
right. Fight me. I think it is. I am really excited to see the people who have won all-star versions play again. Sandra being one of them. Um, I can't see a world where she makes it far, which is really sad. But she's like, to me, she's the OG of unique strategy. I love unique strategy in the game, and like coming into it going, I don't care who goes home, and like just tell me who to vote for, kind of thing. Like I think that's brilliant.
Like Adam that are gonna have that mindset.
Right, and then like taking the goatiest of goats to the end of the game. Like, come on, Lil. Come on, Lil. Sandra
Well,
took Lil to the end, or Lil took Sandra to the end, really.
I was gonna say Lil took Sandra because she wasn't about to make Johnny Fairplay and lose to him. So
But I just love her. I'm bummed. I don't think we're gonna get a ton of her, but
what was the Edge of Extinction? The one good thing about Edge of Extinction this time is that ones that we like, we might get to see here.
right.
The question I have for you is, do you think her going out early in the last game that she played, do you think that's going to soften some of the tension that she would have had coming in if she hadn't done that? Or do you think everyone's still going to go, she's still the only two-time winner, she got to go?
I see your point here, and I feel that way about another person we're going to talk about, but I don't feel that way about Sandra.
Okay. It was
Sandra,
less of a point, more of a question. I don't know. I don't know if they're going to
yeah,
target her regardless, or if they're going to be like, well, she obviously has her vulnerabilities, which they proved the last time she played. Let's maybe not go for her yet.
because Sandra almost made the merge still last time. She was early target constantly and still managed to almost make the merge. Like she survived way more tribals than she should have. It was really impressive. I think it was a swap that finally got her taken out, but she's such a good player, and she won twice, that I think no, she could Francesca herself multiple seasons in a row and still come back, and she would still be like, we need to get her out first or she's gonna win. Yeah. I just don't see a world where she makes it deep into the game. But if it happens, yes.
I mean, I would love it. I would absolutely love it. I mean, for me, I think of it like you think of Suri. She got fourth in her season, then she got third in Micronesia. She got out like fourth in Heroes versus Villains, and then she came back and probably stood a good chance to win her season if it wasn't for that whole idol nonsense. Because 20 idols and advantages in the game at once to make it interesting for him, apparently. I would just up his dose of lithium and call it a day, but I'm not a doctor. So that's just my thought on things. I'd love to see Sandra go far. She's the one where it's like, well, she doesn't change her game up. She doesn't do that. I'm like, she ain't got to.
Right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. And it ain't broke.
And I think for me, I love watching a woman look at the screen and go, yes, I am going to lie to you. I am going to betray you. And you're going to smile once it happens, and you're still going to vote for me at the end. And I'm like, because anywhere else on the planet, women aren't allowed to say that. Not only does Sandra say it, she says it, and she makes me eat it with a spoon.
Right.
2 spoons. Double dip. Love Sandra. So I don't necessarily need her to win, and if she goes home early, it would be a bummer. But again, even though I can watch her play a million times, I'm like, is this her 4th game? 4th.
Yes, 4th time playing.
I'm okay.
Sarah Lacina.
There is an interesting one. I just got off of a tangent, so I'm gonna let you go on a tangent.
Sarah's another player where I'm kind of middle of the road, in opinion, right? So like first time playing, yeah, I liked Sarah. I'm gonna just throw it out there now before we get there. I'm not the biggest Tony fan in the world, so like in the whole Sarah versus Tony, like yeah, I was probably rooting for Sarah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine.
I just realized they're on the same tribe. That's gonna be everything. Oh my
They
god.
did that on purpose.
Of
Um,
course they did.
Not the most excited, just because Game Changers was a poorly named season, and she came in as a non-threatening person in a game of people who actually did change the game, which I think helped her. And then she worked in an alliance of people who also never changed the game, like Troyzan and Culpepper.
That was the dumbest named season. And I've
Yeah,
said
I mean,
several of the top. I said that about David versus Goliath, but no, Game Changers was the dumbest. I was like, what exactly did you change about this game? Do people still get voted out? Do people still have immunity challenge? Is there still one winner chosen by a jury? Bye.
so I don't expect her to do well here. I think the worst thing working in her favor is um being on a starting tribe with Tony, who she could maybe bond with, maybe work with, but Sandra being there too, I think is just too much. Sandra needs to know that going into it, her top two targets for the tribe, the best people to throw under the bus instead of her, would be Sarah, who most recently won in and I say this very, very liberally, all-star season, and then Tony, who runs around like a llama. So I think that doesn't work in Sarah's favor because Tony probably poses himself well as a goat, whereas Sarah doesn't as much. So I think Sarah is an early target on the tribe for sure. If she's got bad blood with Tony, that brings her a target. And I just genuinely think when you're the most recent All-Star season winner, you're gonna go down.
Sorry.
No, yeah.
I was just going to ask, do you think that being a winner of an all-star season makes you more of a target?
Yeah, because I think you're playing with people who have played before.
That's fair.
You don't have a Redemption Island cast where it's like 9 people on your tribe that are like, oh, let's just do what you want, and you move forward like that. So I think that works against you.
I'm not better at all.
What are your thoughts on Sarah?
I thought Sarah was a very well-deserved win. Sarah's also the last time we saw a female winner, which I have to be honest, in the last 5 or 6 seasons where it's been like, let's just give all the glory to the dudes. And then I think like the last 3 reunions I couldn't even watch just because I'm like, I'm sick of watching men traditionally, or more often than not Caucasian men, win the game off of the hard work, off of the usual women that either kept them in, not because they pulled the wool over the woman's eyes, but because they were just a line. And for whatever reason, like juries just seem to really appreciate testosterone in a way I can't describe. So I thought Sarah's win was very well deserved. I thought she played a very, very balanced game where she didn't, I can't remember how well she did in competitions, but I know that she zigged when she needed to zig. She, used information that she had in a way that got people to do what she needed them to do. And then she got rid of people when she needed to. And she stabbed people in the backs right at the right time. And that was, again, with a season with all returning players. So that being said, I'd love for Sarah to go far. She's not an emotional favorite of mine, but I do respect the fact that she is a great player. And if she goes early, it's probably because she's just that good.
Yeah, maybe I just down her win a little bit because of Advantage Gate, like where Sari automatically left the game because of stupid. Like I think if that doesn't happen, then I don't think Sarah wins the game. But you know what? The circumstances fall the way they do. You play around it. So props to her. Props to you, mama.
Props to you. I don't really have anything else to say about Sarah. She's another one of the ones I'm like, she's great, deserved her win. I like her. She can go early and I'd be, or she could not go early and I'd be like, cool.
Right. Ooh, Sophie Clark. Give me life, Sophie Clark.
Are you a Sophie fan?
I am a Sophie fan.
I'm a Sophie fan too.
Yes. And I think she's going to do well.
I really want her to do well. She's another one of those winners where Normally I don't want, I used to watch like the preseason interviews and I'd kind of like figure out who I liked. And way back in the day, I'd always pick 3 people from the first episode and say, these are the 3 I'm banking on for the whole season. And Sophie is one of the people that I chose episode 1 of South Pacific. I have no idea who the other 2 were, but she's one of the ones that I chose. And I was like, I love her. And I'm like, I'm sorry. A lot of people kind of downplay how amazing Sophie is. For me, I'm like, not only did she have to last 39 days, she had to last 39 days and listen to Coach the entire time.
And Brandon Hands.
Oh, wait. Was Brandon in that season?
Yes.
He was in that season. Oh, my God. And I'm like, bless her ever-loving heart. Give that girl $1 million, even if she doesn't win.
Right.
Oh, gosh. The amount of mansplaining she probably had to deal with in that duo. Ugh. No, thank you. So I love that Sophie's back. So that's my piece. I want her to do well. If she won it, I wouldn't be upset.
I can see she's another one where like if she makes it to the end, I don't see her getting like a 3rd place no votes. Like I see her, if she makes it to the end, she's a huge contender for the win. And unless people start off and go, whoa, that girl needs to go, or in the off chance that like maybe she and like a Tyson like kind of don't rub each other the right way, I don't really see how else she goes early. I think she's really good at appearing non-threatening, which I think is awesome. So
I think the thing about Sophie is she doesn't have the biggest personality. And for people that I can't relate since I'm such an introvert, but I know that when people are more outspoken and more like cool and everything like that, Sophie strikes me as one who might struggle at first to give like more of like a warm, like, hey,
right.
she's like Aubrey when she played her last time, where people are going to go, she's cool, she's fine, but every time she talks to me, there's something behind those eyes that just make me feel like I'm being examined.
Right.
Which is part of why I love Sophie. So
I could see Sophie and like Kim teaming up. Like that would be such a dominant alliance. So I want that.
I think Sophie, the thing that Sophie would definitely have going for her as well is her ability to just say, I'm just going to smile and nod my head.
Right.
As long as no one's like throwing out the idea of voting me out. Because I think only once did we ever see Sophie behind the 8 ball as well.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, and that happened, I think, like Final 5 in South Pacific. So she's
And
one.
then she won immunity, which was pretty cool.
That is right. She did win
Yeah.
immunity. And then they talked about her being insincere and she cried. And I was like, what's happening? I have questions. Did you discuss Sophie? I feel like
No, I did. Yeah, she's a favorite winner of mine, not the favorite, but a favorite. And I'm really excited to see her play without having to deal with Coach again. So
now that's the other thing that makes me curious about Sophie's game is I feel like if there was ever going to be an uprising against her alliance, Coach is always going to be in the crosshairs and not her. So I wonder how that will or will not affect her game as not having that huge target that was with her the entire time.
well, but again, she's an unassuming player. You kind of look at Sophie and you're probably like, oh, well, we can get her later. Let's get Kim. We can get her later. Let's get, whoever else is in her alliance. I think she knows who to pick to work with to do that, So
I want Sophie to go so far in this game.
Right.
We kind of loosely talked about him, and I got to be honest, I don't necessarily need to talk about him more. Nachos for me, I was like, the first time I was like, okay, you're kind of insane, and that's fun, but you won. That's cool. Then he came back the second time. I was like, God, I hope you go early, and he did.
Yeah.
This time, it's like it'd be fun to watch him play the game and not be insane.
I don't think he's capable of it, but maybe in this kind of season it lends itself to that a little bit. Maybe not a lot, but a little bit. He was the one I was foreshadowing earlier when I said, when you asked the question with Sandra, do you think her being voted out early last time helps her game? With Tony, I think 1,000,000% him going early last time he played helps him so much because I think people are looking at him as a winner of circumstance and not a winner of skill. He did have a super idol and he played it the way you need to play a super idol. He told everybody about it. The rest of the cast really dropped the ball by not flushing it. All they had to do was literally split the votes. And they didn't do it. So Do I think Tony is the best winner of all time? No, and I often like giggle at people who play up his win because I do think he had a veil of safety for most of the season, and that wasn't fair. But he's interesting. He's fun TV. He's not my kind of fun TV, so um, if he goes early, I'm totally fine with it. If he impresses me, I'd welcome it. I want to see masterful gameplay from Tony, and if I see it, I will eat my words and respect his second win. I don't predict it. I really don't.
Same.
Like, I'd be shocked.
I would
So,
I would love if Tony goes in there and says, well, last time I was insane, so let me go ahead and just try this from a more, let me listen more than I talk, let me not like openly threaten people and see how that works. I would love to see if Tony can do that. And if it doesn't work, Tony goes 8 monkeys again. There is an entertainment value in that. So
right.
actually, my worry about the season is everyone just being like, I'm just going to sit back and see what happens. I feel like there's a lot of potential that that's what the majority of the cast is going to do. So having a player in there like Tony is not necessarily a bad thing, at least for entertainment value. So
Right.
the fact that he, Sarah, and Sandra are all on the same tribe.
What a hot mess.
Oh, that's one of those. I normally don't care which tribe goes to tribal council first, but I definitely want them to go to tribal council first. I probably second and third. I'm good on Tony if you're good on Tony.
I'm fine on Tony forever. Next up is Tyson. Mm, so Tyson was really fun to watch in Token Sheens. Tyson was a little less fun, but still fun to watch in Heroes versus Villains.
Yeah.
And Tyson really sucked the fun out of himself for me in Blood versus Water. I didn't like the whole I can't believe you're trying to play your game and you voted out my girlfriend and you want to go to rocks against me, don't look at me. It was very like pious, and that's not my favorite thing in a player. And
Well,
I hope
sorry,
oh
go ahead.
no, go ahead.
I was gonna say it's very. It wasn't until you started bringing that up that I remembered that was even something that happened. And for me, I'm like, it's very pious. It's very. How dare you not for me? And I'm just like, isn't he from like Utah? I was gonna say, like, was he not raised in the Mormon Bible Belt? I don't know. I hear stuff like that, and I'm like, all I'm hearing right now is white privilege, and that's funny if you're funny. But in Blood versus Water, he wasn't funny.
It wasn't funny. It really it sucked seeing serious Tyson. And I mean, if that's what gets him the win, I would love to see funny Tyson get a win. And I think he needs to bring funny Tyson to do really well in this season. So I hope we get that back because funny Tyson is one of the best characters of all time. His snarky random comments in Token Sheens were amazing.
You were amazing. You were not wrong. That being said, I'm very much that person. It's like, I've seen you play 3 times. I think I've seen every iteration of your gameplay we're probably ever going to be able to see. And I'd love for him to prove me wrong on that. But I'm just like, Tyson's going to get in there and make snarky comments and then like vote people out and laugh about it. And that's fine. But I'm just like, he's,
Yeah.
he's plenty of people's flavor, which I'm sure is why he got brought back. He's just a flavor that I don't find myself realizing that I missed it. Maybe I'll watch it and go, oh my God, this is who I've missed for so long. But just like revisiting my memories of him, I'm like, he could have been involved in the season or not, and I would have been fine.
Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I think it's been I can't remember the numbers. It's around 15 seasons since he's been on, and it's crazy to say modern Survivor between season 25 and now, but it is different. There's more advantages, there's more idols all the time. I think Tyson is a player who will adapt to modern Survivor really well. So I'm excited to see his gameplay again because you have to keep in mind what's really interesting about this. It's as if JT were on the season, I'd be saying the same thing about him. Tyson is a player who has played really well, and Tyson is also a player who has played really badly. He has ruined his game, and he has dominated the game. So I'm very interested to see what version of Tyson we get.
I'm very intrigued as well. So we will find out. I'd love for Funny Tyson because I think Funny Tyson is definitely great television.
Yes.
He's another one of those ones where I'm like, if he goes early, if he sticks around, I hope he makes me laugh. which is horrible because it's such a dance monkey dance mentality to have, but that's just
But
what.
it is a TV show, and we're here to be entertained. So
Are you not entertained? So yeah,
not by some of these cast members.
not by half these cast members. I'm actually really excited about the next one.
Me too. Thank you. He's the only modern winner that I actually really enjoy.
He was a winner in an interesting season where I was kind of like, I know who I want to see win, but also I felt like between him and what was the name of the one?
Dom. I was convinced Dom was going to get it, and I wasn't thrilled.
I think I was reasonably convinced Dom was going to get it as well. And when it wasn't Dom, I felt bad for him because they played such similar games.
Yeah.
Like, very seldomly made a move without the other. So it's like, how do you pick between? I think that was Laurel was her name, maybe.
Laurel.
Laurel I think she was kind of banking on people being like, well, they played the same game, and she was in the minority tribe, and she made it here.
Right.
And she's a black woman, but obviously that didn't work out for her. But I think if I could handpick a final,
rarely does on Survivor.
What?
I said it rarely does on Survivor.
That's why I'm like, where's Vesepia?
Right,
I don't
come
know
on.
who needs Vesepia as a winner, and I don't really care. I was like, how many black female winners have we had in Survivor? Now that I've said that out loud, I'm like, is she the one?
She's the one.
She's like literally the one. And people
It's
could
hard when you only cast one every season, if that.
say it again.
It's hard if you only cast one every season, if that.
So it's like you just thought, oh wow, look at us, diversity. We got a black winner and everything like that. And then 36 seasons later, it's like, welp.
Right.
We couldn't bring back the black girl, so I guess we're not getting a second black winner. Anyway, I'm slightly biased and offended. So I'm really excited about Wendell. If I could pick a final five, he'd probably be the only male, other than maybe Yule, who we'll get to, that I would like handpick to put in the final five. Wendell was great. I think just on like looking at threats and everything like that, Wendell's the one that I'm worried about because we know that he can keep his composure. We know he speaks really well to people. I don't remember too many instances where he was targeted in his season, but that could just be my memory not going the way it should go.
No, you're right. Yeah.
But he is definitely someone who I'm excited to see come back. I was like, oh man, we've got two black people in this season. I was like, we might not get a black woman winner, but we might get a black guy winner. And not that the color of the skin matters. It's still just fun to watch. So I would be very thrilled to see Wendell go very deep into the game because I'm a big fan of his.
I think Wendell has a ton of potential. He needs to tap into it. And I think the best thing that he could do in this game is to work with like less likable but more visible people. Like if he could work with a Tony or a Tyson and they're on his tribe, that would probably be really good for Wendell. I think Wendell runs into trouble if he works with too many likable people.
Yeah.
And just kind of becomes like oh, well, why target them when we can target them? They're the same person. If Wendell's like working with a Tony where Tony obviously should be the target because he's playing crazy, or Tyson where, Tyson has played so many more times and this and that, I think that would lend itself well to to Wendell's game. So I think Wendell is, he's a wild card for me, and I don't like to use that term very much, but he is. I have no idea how he's going to do in the game. But
Yeah.
I agree with you. I would love to see Wendell in a final five, final six, throw him and Yule in there, and those are the only two guys I need in there either, so I'm fine with that. So Wendell is a cool guy, and I really liked his win. He's, like I said, the only modern winner that I really appreciate. So
I would agree with that. I'd say since Sarah won Game Changers, yeah, I think he's the only winner that I'm thinking of off the top of my head that I particularly enjoyed watching and was happy to see win.
Yeah.
Which brings us out to number 20.
Hot Daddy Yule.
Oh,
Yule is so attractive.
oh, oh. Am I turning red?
I just want to like cut off his cheekbones and I don't do something with them. Put them on a wall, put them on a plaque.
And on that note, good night, everybody.
I've always had a big crush on Yule, and Yule has always been one of my favorite winners. He was actually like my original favorite winner.
Mm-hmm.
Like, in the early days when you're looking before like Micronesia and stuff, before like the second All-Star season, which is really fans versus favorites, but whatever. I just really loved Yule. I love how like well spoken he is, but he's also funny. He's kind of got like dad jokes,
Yeah.
which I appreciate. And he's such a good player. He just mists everybody. Everybody like, breathes the Yule air
Yeah.
and the Yule tide, if you will. And he's just so charming. Um, if I was on that island and I played with
Riding
Yule,
a Yuletide is what you're saying.
yes, I would be like cartoon heart eyes and not even paying attention to the game. Uh, And I'm hoping that's how everybody else feels about Yule being in the game, because if he's an early boot, my heart will shatter. I would love. Oh, you know what? When I said Yule and Wendell being towards the end, let's throw Ethan in there too. I'd be happy if Ethan gets towards the end.
I wouldn't
But
be upset if Ethan went towards the end. I'd
I
love
would love to see those three guys work together. Like they're all kind of the same. They're very like chill guys, cool vibes, good personalities, not crazy, good game players. I want those kind of people to work together when it comes to the guys. And I just really like Yule. I really do.
I,
I know I can't be a hypocrite, right? So I've got to point out Tony won the game by having a super idol for most of the game, and Yule did the same thing. I understand. But the thing with Yule is, even if he doesn't have that super idol, I think Yule still wins the game because he played it so well.
he
Like
played it well. I don't think his idol was a super, was it? That wasn't even a
it was a play it after the votes. But and I
Oh,
may
you're
recall it
absolutely right.
wrong,
You're absolutely right.
but he didn't play it like Tony did, where he like held it over everyone's head. Like I think he kind of kept it low key.
Yeah. Well,
So
the important thing is that Yule's not a douche. So, oh, sorry.
you're fine.
That was an internal thought that became an external thought.
I
So,
don't. I'm not saying you're not wrong.
I very seldomly am when it comes to
You're
my.
not right.
No, I'm excited that Yule's back. One, just because I love any representation of any other culture other than the predominantly Caucasian pool that they had to pull from to get winners to come back. So I'm very excited for Yule. I feel like if anyone I'm worried for, just in the fact that I care about them, kind of like Wendell, I definitely put Yule in a similar boat in the fact that they're like, he just, even against great players, like he was against Jonathan Penner, he was against Parvati, really solid players that also came back for other iterations of Survivor. He was against some really amazing players, and he still, despite overcoming insanely bad numbers, he still pulled it out. And I think, like anything, anyone's going to look at the resume of the one and only time players, I think Yule's going to have the biggest target on him just because of everything he was able to accomplish. Which sucks because I love Yule, and I also feel the same way about Denise. So I'm just like, no, I love these ones. Don't vote them out. What I'm interested in seeing is I'd love for like the players that have only played once. So like the Dannies, the Denise, Yule, Wendell, all those people, just be like, so here's the thing. The people that have played 17 times and know or have played with more than 10
The
people,
whole cast.
how about instead of just letting them decide which of us who've only played once goes home, why don't we all just come together and just decide to get rid of someone who's playing their third, fourth, or fifth freaking time? Nothing would make me cream my pants quicker than if that were to be proposed and actually executed. I would die. That would make me so happy.
I'm here for it.
Yeah, I don't think it's ever going to happen, but it would make me very happy if it did. So that's one of those things where I'm just like, if Jeff Probst wants to make the season interesting, get rid of Edge of Extinction, all that crap. Give every player an idol and just let them loose.
Oh my god. I have an aneurysm every tribal.
But how fun would that be to watch? And I hate idols. Well, I don't hate them. I hate when there's like 7 idols in one game.
Right.
To me, that's a bit overkill. But like if it's 20 winners and there are 20 idols, that could be entertaining. I don't think it'd be any more or less of a crap show than this show's been for the last 6 or 7.
And Ben finds a way to multiply his 18 times, so he makes
Ben just happens to, like, I don't know, walk from one side of camp to another side of camp. Oh, look, an idol. And I'm the greatest player of my season. Shut up. So if you were to have handpicked some other winners to join this season, who would you have included?
So I feel like number one, like missing there for me is probably Tina.
Oh,
Um, it's hard for me that Tina isn't there, and
really?
I would kick off Amber for Tina.
That's fair.
And then Vesepia, I feel like you need her on there.
Like, who
I
got high at casting and decided not to include
I
Vecepia?
just think they don't appreciate her as a winner. And like,
I,
here's the thing, right? I've watched Marquesas a lot. And Vesepia's like final tribal council was a little underwhelming because she didn't really like identify what her strategy was. She just kept saying, I had a strategy. But like Nalia didn't have that. So like she won, which is fine. Vesepia did have a strategy. She just didn't elaborate on it. And I don't know if that's what like holds people back from appreciating her. But like V is also like big in the community. Like I think she does Hearts of Reality every year still, and she won like 18 years ago.
that's
So
reality.
yeah, it's like that big charity thing. So
Oh,
like I'm surprised that she wasn't even. I don't know if she wasn't contacted, but I'm assuming she wasn't. I'm just surprised that she's not back.
yeah.
Replace Michelle with V for sure. Um, and then I like women more than men, so I would probably take off like Nick and Ben and Adam. And as much as I'm not a big Tony fan, I feel like you need Tony on this season just because
Tony's
he's
one of those ones you include for,
yeah.
the
And
giggle.
like I don't want to see Rob play again, but like you'd need him there.
Yeah.
So I would take off those three, and I'd probably put on. Um, I'm not the biggest Earl fan, but I feel like Earl earned a spot. But I
Earl,
guess Earl was on because of like family stuff.
yeah, I think Earl would have been one that he probably would have done his thing, but Earl wasn't a very exciting player to watch just because I don't think Earl's a very exciting person.
Yeah,
He's just someone that's like you watching him play the game and watching him maneuver the game was entertaining in the sense that he played it well, but
right.
wasn't the most exciting person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would love to have seen Jenna Maraska back.
Oh wow.
Um,
All
and
right.
Todd. I'm really missing Todd.
Oh, Todd was good. Todd was the very first time I looked at a cast before the season started and was like, I'm putting my money on him.
Nice.
'Cause it's very rare that I would do that. I would normally only make my decision after I watched the first episode.
Yeah.
Um, I'm trying to think. I literally had to pull up the list of all the winners. Jenna Maraska would have been an interesting one, especially with Ethan back.
Right.
Um, I'm going up in reverse order. Oh God, how great would it have been if they got Bob back? That would have been
I like Bob a lot.
I
Bob
like
would have been fun.
Bob.
Bob and Tony on a season together, all the fake idols they'd be planning everywhere.
Can you imagine? Sophie's in there, Kim's in there, Denise is in there. I'm grateful. I'm just going up through the winners. I'm grateful Cochran's not back. I'll never understand Cochran's win. I'll never understand Cochran's unanimous win.
Yeah. Don't even get me started.
Pass.
Don't.
Tyson, Tony, Natalie Anderson. So grateful Mike Holloway's not back because if Mike, Adam, and Ben were in the same season together and they made it anywhere like past the merge, I would destroy my television.
I am shocked that Ben's back, but Mike isn't. I will throw that out there. I felt like Mike was a lot more fun to watch, at least.
I hate
But
both of them.
yeah,
I think it solidified. I think both of them winning solidified me not enjoying the watching, which is fine because it's the last episode. But yeah, Mike Holloway, I was like, why? No. Um, but yeah, this only goes up to Heroes versus Hustlers. CBS's list of winners only goes up to Heroes versus Healers versus Hustlers. That's funny. So we're just gonna ignore the last 4 seasons on our website.
well, most of them are there. You're just missing the guy who stayed on edge of extinction for 34 days and then won the game.
We're not going to talk about that because I've already said some very pointed things about people that I like, let alone. Never mind. I would have loved to see Vesepia come back. I think there's a transparent underrepresentation of the first 20 seasons of Survivor. So I feel like we only have Ethan, we have Amber, we have Danni, and we have Parvati, and I think that's it.
Yes.
Out of a
Oh, and Sandra. Sandra.
Oh, you're right. I'm an idiot. You're right. So out of a 20-person cast, we're only going to include a quarter of the cast from the first half of the applicable seasons.
Right.
Okay, so I would have loved to seen Vesepi in there. I definitely would have bounced Michelle for that. I would have loved to see Brian Heidick come back.
Interesting.
I know a lot of people don't care for Thailand.
The OG sociopath.
Oh my gosh. Well, and he won. And he was a great winner. He was another winner that I saw in the first episode. I was like, oh, that's the one I like. And he went to the top and he won. I think Brian, I think it'd be interesting. I love when they brought back Jervis. I love when they brought back Kimmy Kappenberg. I love on the more, like in the last 5 years, when they bring back the earlier players just to see how, if in any way, they've adapted their gameplay, if they've watched, if they go in and play the exact same game. Because I think especially it's a treat for the fans who've been watching since 2000.
Right.
And it would have been really great if they had incorporated more players from that era. Because I think from like seasons 30 to season 39, or from season like 25 to 39, we've got like 12 winners or something like that. And it's like, don't get me wrong, it was a great time for Survivor, but it's also like, let's not ignore all the greats from, the beginning.
Right.
So it's going to be an interesting season. I'm excited for it. I'm terrified for it because I'm worried that all these twists are just going to make it insufferable. So
yeah, I have no positive feelings about Edge or Fire Tokens, so I literally won't verbalize them. I feel like we keep going on this path with new twists and stuff, and I wish we could just get a season where it's just Survivor again, where it's just get rid of the idols, like just play the game.
Right. Well, and I think that's just a testament that Jeff Probst just does not trust his own format anymore.
Yeah.
And it's like I think I saw him in an interview where he basically was just like, oh, well, if we didn't do all these things, would you even watch? And I'm like, yeah. Well, and his response, it was a metaphorical question. Or hypothetical, not metaphorical. It was a hypothetical question because he was just like, oh, would you watch? Maybe you would, but we do these changes just, because it keeps up your, and I was just like, I can't with this man.
I'd be like, do you know how many times I've seen Vanuatu? Yes, I would watch. Speaking of players who I'm shocked are not back, I'm not doing Chris Daughtry as much as I think he's
because he was a winner I thought was horrible.
Tom Westman, I cannot believe is not back. I know some people are lukewarm on him, but he dominated Palau, dominated.
And I think he dominated Palau when he came back for Heroes versus Villains, and he went early, and that was about.
He got idled out though.
Did he?
Queen Sari.
Sari idled out Tom. Oh, you're right.
No, wait, no. Or did they idle out Sari?
They idled out Sari. Is how
I'm thinking that wrong.
Yeah,
Tom messed up because he aligned with losers, but I want to see him come back.
I was just like, Tom would have been a good one to bring back just for the fun of it, but I don't necessarily miss him.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, anyone prior to, what would you call it? Other than JT, who I don't need to see play. How many times has he played now? 3?
Too many.
Too many to count.
I didn't even like his first season. I don't understand how he won unanimously.
Okay, I'm really worried about this as a channel because you and I agree on way too much. I felt like it was going to be like, oh, if I can get someone I can argue with to do these videos, everyone has a voice and everyone can be like, oh, I agree with Alex or oh, I agree with Brian. They're either going to agree with us or they're going to say, those two queens don't know what they're talking about.
Or you're going to X out the video. We should have had a disclaimer like, we did not discuss our opinions beforehand. We did not know we were going to agree this much.
No, true story. Anyway, I feel like in wrapping this up, I'm not editing this for anything. I am just going to post it because this is too much footage to even try to dissect. I think we have the grounds for a lot of chaos and a lot of stupidity and a lot of fun. And hopefully that is exactly what the season is going to provide.
I am super excited and I'm looking forward to recapping it with you as we go through. Do you want to do a quick, before the season, first boot prediction and winner prediction?
Oh, God, I can't do a winner prediction because I have no idea.
It's so hard.
I like just picking like who I'd like to see in the top 5. I think would be
Yes. Who's your personal top 5? Like who do you?
my personal top 5. If I had to pick a winner, just that I'd like to see happen, not necessarily that I think it will happen, I would love to see Denise be the second 2-time winner. If I had to pick a winner or a person, it would definitely be Denise. And I have to look at the cast photo again to uh, be doubly sure. And if it wasn't Denise, and I know a lot of people are going to roll their eyes at me, but I don't care. I would love Sophie to win again. I'd love for Kim to win again. I'd love for Natalie to win again. It's really just like are you freaking out because I'm picking the same people you would have picked?
Your first 3 were my top 3, but keep going, pop off.
No, that's basically it. And I think the thing that most of the people that I appreciate, everyone I'm rooting for this season has only played once. Like,
Yeah.
I won't be upset if Sandra goes to the ends and wins again, but I'm not necessarily rooting for her to do so. The people that I strongly am like going to be devastated if they're voted out early or voted out at all are going to be the people that only played once and they're predominantly women. I've got a soft spot for Ethan Zahn just because I just want him to buy me a drink and tell me about his life. And then probably the same for Yule. So they're ones that I have like sentimental values for. But yeah, Denise, Sophie, and Kim are definitely like
That's who I'm pulling for.
top 3. I could probably stop watching Survivor because I'm like, we had the best ending possible. I think my be all, I'm going to bring it to a negative place because that's what I do best. I think my least favorite final 3 of all time would be Ben, Adam, and I keep thinking Mike, but he's not in the season.
Nick. No, you like Nick. You don't mind Nick.
I don't mind. I wouldn't like. I prefer him not to be at the end. Probably Boston Rob, and I know everyone's gonna hate me for saying it. If it was Nick, Ben, and Boston Rob at the end, I'd probably be like, give it to Boston Rob because he probably will have worked his ass off for it. But I'm just sick of seeing his face.
Right. I wouldn't pick a bad final 3 that I wouldn't want to see. I don't. The person I really don't want to see win again is Nick, because I just remember being so underwhelmed by his win. But here's the thing, like
Ben and Adam.
Ben will not win again playing the same way he did before. That's the thing. This cast will recognize that if he finds idols and that's the only way he gets to the end, that he doesn't deserve to win. They're not. This cast of players is not voting for Russell Hands to win the game. So like, I'm not worried about, because if he makes it and they give him the win, I know it's because he earned it. But I just don't remember like why Nick won in the first place, so I don't want to see Nick. I don't want to see that happen to me again. I don't want it to be another anomaly win where I'm like, why? Like,
I think I put Nick above Adam mostly because Adam kept finding himself in good alliances and good positions, and then would go to the minority alliance and be like, hey, remember when you didn't want me to sit at your cool kids table? Well, maybe you should now. Like, I felt Adam's game was very much like Adam himself in this cast, which was unnecessary. So.
Well, I was gonna binge watch that season this week, but now maybe I won't.
You should, just so we can have one more thing to agree on, hopefully, which is that as amazing as Adam probably is as a human being, he's not someone that I personally look forward to watching a second time.
Right.
Yep. But I feel like we got to end it on a positive note. In a dream situation, if you were to be on that show, and since I feel like we've already burned Kim, Denise, and Sophie, anybody else that you'd get on the island and be like, I absolutely want to make an alliance with you because it would make all the sense in the world, even if it blew up in my face.
Oh gosh, that's so hard. Okay, quick like aside here as a preface, I get along in real life really well with people who like are not a lot of people's favorite person. Like I think like a cool part of my personality.
What? I'm sorry.
A cool part of my like personality, I think, is like I appreciate people who are like underappreciated. So like I tend to like, not that I flock towards people like that, and I don't want my friends watching this to think, oh my god, I'm annoying, because they're not. But like people that people say are really annoying, I get along really well with. So I would love to work with Natalie. because the whole like, oh my god, twinny thing and blah, blah, I would love it. And I would love that people would be like, she annoys the shit out of me. I would just be like, oh well, that's unfortunate because she doesn't bother me at all. So I would really like to have an ally like that in the game, because they're not going to want to keep them over me,
Yeah.
because they're going to be annoying people. But also she's destructive, like not in a bad way. Like she is a destructive player. She's like the good kind of dynamite. She's like the dynamite in the Looney Tunes cartoon. Like it like blows up and it turns your face all scary, but like you don't actually die. So like that would be a cool partner to have. I would be happy with Natalie.
I love that answer because she's totally someone I'd love to see go all the way to the end, if not towards the end. I would never be able to work with Natalie because we would be the most conspicuous alliance in the history of conspicuous alliance. I think Rob and Amber would have an easier time like sweeping their alliance under the rug than if I were to team up with Natalie. So I would probably just wind up going with one of the quiet. If we eliminated Sophie, Kim, and Denise, who are everyone I would probably align with, I would most likely go with a very reserved and well-connected player. So for me, it'd probably be like Yule, Wendell, or Ethan.
Oh, okay.
Where I would gravitate to, because if I ever did like Survivor Big Brother, I'd be like, I gotta find someone that's gonna balance me out, because I got the big personality and I need someone with like a quieter personality that we can kind of like from two different perspectives like compare notes and see if we're seeing the same thing in a way that we probably wouldn't recognize that we were doing. So
I like that answer.
Yes. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting. It's gonna be fun. I want to thank you, Ryan, for coming along for the ride.
I'm so excited. I've never been thank you for asking me. I've never been asked to do this before, so it's gonna be fun. Thank you to everybody that watched this. Holy cow.
All four of you who probably started and then 10 minutes in were just like, why are they still talking? We're gonna do our best to try and be a little bit more brief.
There's no way they can be this long in the future. There's gonna be something to talk about, but not that much to talk about.
No. It's literally gonna be like before immunity challenge, after immunity challenge, tribal council. Who do we like? Who do we love? And call it a day. We should be having this conversation, so not while it's recording. So we're gonna call this video a wrap. Thank you again for joining us. Thank you, Ryan, for being a part of this, and we will catch you guys soon after episode 1. How do you stop this thing?